Yo, what's up with y'all, man? Shout out to David Jenkins for being oh no, you weren't first. Sadiqa Charles was first, but shout out to Sadiqa for being first. David Jenkins, you was second, but that ain't so bad. That ain't so bad. He said rest in peace, D'Angelo. That's definite. You know what I mean? I heard he just passed away. That was crazy. Um, Paul Wilson, what's up? He said, Okoye, could I become a moderator? Oh, for sure. I got to do that from YouTube, though, on my channel. Can't do it here because, one, I'm on StreamYard, and two, this is a co production with my channel and then Akoye Knows Boxing. But to answer your question, yes, on Akoye Media, I will make you a moderator, brother. Um, we coming together today though because I went to the fights over the weekend, man, and I have to say I'm probably still recovering. If you guys hear me sound a little drag ass, that's probably why. But I went to the Boots Lima fight over the weekend, and I have to say the energy was good. You know, the energy was amazing, man. And I'm not just saying the energy as if the fight wasn't. The fight just didn't last very long because Lima just he didn't stand a chance against Boots when it came to his time and his reflexes, his sharpness. He's pretty sharp. And that uppercut that he threw under that straight right hand or straight left hand that Lima tried to nail him with, he set him up for that and threw an uppercut right under his punch. And I don't think Lima saw that coming. He didn't expect it. So that was like the beginning and the end. After that, Boots rallied and got him out of there. But it's not the fight. You guys can literally probably watch the fight quicker than what I just explained, right? Because that's how short the fight was. So it's not the fight that got me excited. It was really what happened after the fight. And I think for the first time, people are starting to see that Boots is publicly calling out guys. It's not just, fanfare or fan lore where we're like, hey man, who we want to see Boots up against, who we want to see him fight. It ain't no more of that. Like he came out and let it be known he taking over 154. And that's the type of energy we've been waiting for from him, just for the simple fact that we already know what he can do. Everybody in Philly that watch him, we know what he can do. We know what we expect of him. It's now he got to put the rest of the world and the rest of the boxing scene on notice, and he's done that. So calling out Charlo was major in my opinion because I think that's a good fight that he can make. Fondora, all these guys that are Zayas, you know what I mean? Right now, I think Ortiz is the next fight. Shout out to Jamil Parker for YSM Sports for coming on last week and kind of dropping that before the fight. But we heard that there's a contract underway for Ortiz, Victor Ortiz. I'm not Victor, Virgil Ortiz. What the hell? It's one of the V Ortizes. Virgil Ortiz and Boots in the first quarter of 2026. So that fight I think is the type of opponent that Boots would need to gain a little bit more notoriety as far as his draw ability, because Virgil Ortiz has that Mexican market, and that's a market like once you take your demographic and you merge it by fighting with someone else who has a major following in a different demographic, you only grow from that as you grow respect. Like Terence Crawford only grew from fighting Canelo because there's two different fan groups, right? Even though everyone that follows Canelo is not going to now like Terence Crawford, uh, some of them will. You know what I'm saying? Some of them will follow him, and there will be some crossover. So Boots, he does himself a favor fighting a guy like Ortiz because that fight is a good crossover fight for him, and it's a style that I think will make him look good because high offensive output fighters that are coming right after you and really want to fight, those aren't the guys that will give Boots any kind of trouble. If you're not technical, if you're not going to make it a high speed chess match and you really can do that for 12 rounds, you're not really a threat to Boots, in my opinion. So I don't think I mean obviously a puncher's chance. Anybody can get hit you and change a fight. So I'm not saying that Ortiz just has no shot. I'm talking about stylistically though. Trying to walk Boots down is not that's not the way. You know what I mean? That's not the way you would fight a guy like that. He can switch both styles or both stances. He could be a defensive fighter out of southpaw or an offensive fighter. He could be a defensive fighter out of conventional style or an offensive fighter. He could be a counter puncher. He can walk you down. He could be a pressure fighter. Like he does whatever he wants to do in the ring. And I know a lot of people say, "Hey, oh y'all from Philly, so of course y'all being biased." And we just saw it earlier than you because we're here. It's not a biased thing. It's not like we don't have other fighters here in Philly that we rock with that we respect. And it's not a thing where we're like, yo, every fighter out of Philly is just God, otherworldly good. We don't do that. If you real, you real. If you ain't, you ain't. And Boots just has that it factor. And to be quite honest, it's win, lose, or draw, in my opinion. I don't care if he took a L. You know what I mean? Not saying that he will. I'm just saying his style is what gets me. It's not invincibility. I think we need to get away from that in the boxing world too. A lot of Black American fighters think that you have to be undefeated in order to be anything. And that's not the case. It's because of what Floyd did to the game, and I get it, but it's not the case. It's your style that some fighters are purists like myself. I'm looking at your style. That's what I pay attention to. But uh, again, just recapping over the weekend, man, he put Lima right to sleep. It really wasn't a long fight. And as I said, Lima overextends a lot of his punches, so it really wasn't that difficult for him to really dismantle him, right? But when you look at the other styles that those guys present, so I just went over Ortiz. He's a straightforward, come after you pressure fighter. Again, even if he's tough, it might take him some rounds to finally start showing signs of breaking down. But I think Boots will break him down in about 7 or 8 rounds and get him out of here. When you look at a guy like Fundora, a lot of people saying Fundora would be a good fight for Boots, and Fundora, he trades with guys who aren't even that great, right? He has had a few wars, right? And I think even him and Lubin had a good fight. I think Lubin just was too small and didn't know what he was getting into. But to that point though, Fundora still is one of those guys that comes right after you. Although he's big for 154, and I know they're gonna say Boots is like the sparring legend, but Boots spars heavyweights, right? His dad trains a lot of guys that he doesn't get credit for training because they'll send guys to Bozy and they're just in the gym. So I've walked in the gym and there's like, cruiserweight Russians that you never heard of just in there, right? And Boots, he plays with those guys like they're not cruiserweights. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think that the size of Fendora, the height, or even the length, I don't think that's going to bother Boots very much, especially because Fendora doesn't fight off of his back foot and he doesn't box. So it's not like he makes you have to get through his length in order to get to him. You don't. So walking Boots down and being a taller fighter would probably be a recipe for disaster if those two were to fight. So that's two of the top 154 pounders right there that are in the division. I don't think can deal with Boots, right? Even when you go to Baby Cub or Big Cub, whatever Charlo brother, it will fight at 154. Um, Even those guys, like I don't think they have the IQ to be able to deal with Boots. You know what I mean? I don't think he has it. He's to me a highly athletic ABC fighter, right? And when I say ABC fighter, I mean there's not a lot to the Charlos. It's not like they don't have a lot of wrinkles to their game. They're not slick. They're just athletic as hell, pretty strong, explosive, but they're ABC. I mean, you know what they're coming with. It's not a lot of ripples and wrinkles to their game. That doesn't mean they're bad. Like I think Mikhail Kessler was a great ABC fighter. You got a lot of guys who just, they just straight up and down guys that Klitschko's, they ABC fighters. They don't got a lot of slickness to them. They have all the boxing fundamentals, but they're not doing any, trickery in there. They're not setting you up very much. And if it is, it's subtle. You know what I mean? So like I said, I think those three fights will be great fights for him, man. And I'm looking forward to what he does, 2026 and beyond, because I think now at 154 he feels better and he's ready to take on the world stage. So, and it depends on what his team puts together and what Turkey Al Sheikh, if they wind up working with Riyadh season again as well. It depends on what they put together, but I'm excited to see whatever comes out of that camp, man. And like I said, very grateful for the event. It was a fun event. Look forward to Boots in the future for sure. Let me give y'all a little bit of a couple shout outs in here. I see some people in my chats. TBE Boxing says, "How do you call out a guy, Beckram, when you refuse an offer to? I mean, offer to fight him, and fought Lima instead?" According to Leon Muhammad, maybe Boots should go after Canelo after beating the feared Usima Lima. Um, I don't know if that's. I think that's you trying to come at him, I guess. Are you truly asking me a question? But some you never know why or how certain things happen. Like if I know there's a price tag or I have a budget for this fight, and a person that you might want me to fight, I know is out of our budgetary range or scheduling conflict, why would I send them a contract if that date doesn't suit them? So again, I'm a promoter on the back end. So there's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes that the average fan doesn't care to know. They just say, hey, you should be able to get in the ring with this guy. Well, that guy just got over, a UTI, or that guy just got out of rehab, or he just broke his hand, or there's a lot of things that happen where we know, how this guy won't be a viable option for this date. That doesn't mean I don't want to fight him. And that obviously doesn't mean he doesn't want to fight him, because why would he say his name right after the fight if he has, a reason to duck him? It doesn't make much sense, does it? So I don't think that's, what happened. But beyond that, fighting Canelo's not looking to fight every dangerous black fighter he can find. So that fight's not even realistic, in my opinion. Him and Boots fighting, I don't think will happen. Plus, Boots is going to take over and clear out 154 before he even thinks about jumping up beyond that. So that's a fight that won't happen. By the time Boots is at 68 or 60, I don't think Canelo even be boxing anymore. So, um, I mean, good idea, but no. Boots should hire you as a as a spokesperson. You're very good. Man, that's wild, man. That's why you sound like you got a problem with him though, and I don't understand it. Like if you watch boxing, this is just the way I think, man. If I watch boxing and I like boxing, then the only ones I watch, and it's funny because I used to be like you, and I mean it. Like when I first started boxing, seriously boxing, and my trainer, I used to ask him, like, I used to watch everybody and I have my favorites, right? And I'd be like, why you don't you do you watch boxing? And my trainer know more. He knew, he passed away, but he knew more about boxing than most people uh will ever know. He'd have forgot more about boxing than I ever knew. And I know I'm pretty good, right? Because of him. But he used to say, I only watch the good ones. I don't got time to be watching two bombs. Two bombs make a good fight. But I'm not here to watch guys sell blood, brother. He used to say that all the time. And I get him now because I'm the same way. Like I really don't care to watch any and everybody. So when I watch boxing, I'm not watching because I think somebody needs to be perfect, or my guy gotta, be better than your guy. And it's not a competitive thing in that sense. I watch it like an artist watches an artist, right? I'm watching for the respect of the game. Like if you really got it, I appreciate it because I know what it takes to get it. I know what it takes to actually put the work in and learn how to actually move. Just something as simple as walking forward. You gotta to box, you gotta learn how to do everything that you think you know how to do all over again in a unique way. And then you gotta learn how to do it faster, and then with balance, with power, and do that efficiently against guys who also have been learning how to do these things in a unique way or in an unorthodox way. Like it's it's truly a sweet science. So once I see somebody that has it, I respect that. I respect that. I respect Terence Crawford. I respect Boots because of their skill set, not because I'm friends with them or I know them. It had nothing to do with that. So when I hear people like you talking about, you talk about them like you're a fan, like you're a fan of someone else, which is fine. You know what I mean? You can like or dislike whoever you want based off of whatever reasoning you have. I'm just telling you, my reasoning for liking a fighter has nothing to do with personality initially. You know what I mean? You got to have something that make me even want to care about what your personality is in the first place, and that's it. I mean, you have to have that it factor. Got to be able to fight, man. But appreciate your passion, bruh. Um, Hold on. He said he thinks he can use his IBF title to move up and petition. Are you talking about Boots? I mean, whatever. I don't know. He said Backroom was tied up in Josh Kelly negotiations when he moved up, and well, when that fell through, Backroom was mandated to fight Lubin, and Lubin didn't leave those negotiations until Lima already signed. See, that makes perfect sense. And that's what I figured anyway. You know what I mean? I figured that. Yeah, I appreciate your perspective too, bro. Like I said, for me, it's all. I mean, I'm just a realist. I'm gonna say what's up. And again, I'm a boxing coach too. I train fighters, so sometimes I think you'll hear me. I saw you on YSM Sports page, and you guys will hear me talk about Boots a certain way. It's not because I grew up watching him, or I mess with his family. I do bang with his father. I like Bozy a lot. I think he's one of the best trainers in the game right now. and he's finally getting his credit through his son. Like people are starting to see it, but that ain't it. Like I've brought fighters that I respect that I thought were that I still think are good fighters. I've brought them to spar and deal with Boots before I knew who he really was as far as as a fighter, and I watched what he was able to do to fighters that I've trained myself. And I don't show up. People know, like, if I show up, you ain't gonna see me on the boxing scene. You're not gonna see me at the Golden Gloves. I don't like amateurs. I like training pros. People bring pros to me for certain parts of the game, but I'm not a corner man. I'm not the guy that's gonna get in your corner, but I'm the guy that'll teach a guy footwork. I can teach power, strength and conditioning, mindset. You know what I mean? Certain things. Situational boxing is what you bring your guy to me for, right? I've had guys, Moroccan guys that are like they are. Well, you can look them up. Nabil Masoudi, Masoudi. Let me let me put their name in because it's kind of hard out to say. I'm gonna type their name in. Boom. All right, Masoudi. Here we go. Look these brothers up. And Anas. Okay, those guys I put in the chat. Nabil Masoudi and Anas Masoudi. These are fighters that I've trained, right? Anas came here in 2019 and cleared out Philadelphia. Like he was running through Philly something crazy. And I mean that. And I told him he was doing it so crazy. I told him to stop. I said, yo, you gotta stop trying to knock guys out in Philly. I got plenty of his film. This is all documented. But he came to Philadelphia and was knocking guys out or trying to knock everybody out with 16s and headgear on. And I told him, I said, "You're making a name for yourself in Philadelphia, bruh. You gotta tone it down. That's not how we do here because you are the new guy in everybody's gym when you show up. We already gonna show you no love just for the fact that we know you here to make a name, right? Just because we don't know you, right? But if you're coming through and you're trying to harm the individuals that you spar, that's even more incentive for them to try to harm you. And then you're going to defeat the purpose of which you came here for, which is for work. You came here for work and you came here to learn. Well, you're going to be in war. It's not going to be a lot of learning to do other than learning how to be a dog, right? So that's what I was trying to explain to him. He did it anyway. He started, I think his name Nathan Pagano, young kid. They had a great war in sparring down Fifth Street. He sparred J Rock leading up to the Julian Hurd fight. So we were in Julian Williams' camp sparring him. We sparred him like 2 times to prepare for for Jared Hurd right before that unification bout in 2019 or 20. I think they fought in 2019. But yeah, he was right. He was here right before. Yeah, it was 2019. So he was here right before that, right? And in camp before that fight. And what I saw, hold on, he said, "What do you learn from beating your fist? What do you learn from beating your fist in the wall?" I'm gonna show you. But anyway, so he came. He went through camp and went crazy. The next time he came, he was like, he was still disrespecting Philly because the only person who gave him any work was Julian Williams because he was bigger. So he looked at that like it don't count. Julian Williams is bigger than me, so it is what it is. Nah, he came again the end of that year, going into 2020, right before we started the lockdowns, right? And he and Boots sparred after he sparred Sam T. Sam T was also a top ranked junior welterweight. He passed away. He was killed last year or the year before. But at the time, he was alive, right? But he knocked Sam T out of the ring in front of Boots and Bozy and the whole gym, which is taboo. You don't do that. Anas did this, right? So that weekend, they called Anas back. They called us back and said, "Hey, man, we bring your guy down." He brings him down. They do 4.5 minute rounds. 4.5 minute rounds. And at the time, the Boots was trying to hurt him, was trying to kill him, right? But at the time, I'm thinking that maybe Nas ain't that good because I don't know who. I really didn't know how Boots's sparring legend was at the time. I said, maybe you ain't that good because why the hell you get out there? He got out the ring. He ain't want to go another round. He's like, he trying to hurt me, coach. I don't get paid for this. But I'm like, ain't you been trying to hurt everybody? I told you not to do that. You've been trying to hurt everybody that I put you in the ring with, bro. Now you bitching. You know what I'm saying? And this is my man, but this is the truth. This will happen. So anyway, he gets out the ring. I cursed him out for just jumping out the ring instead of telling me what he's about to do. But outside of that, it was cool. It was over. Everything. Everybody shook hands. We all took pictures. It was good. Like, all right. I was like, Boots is nice because he was the only person that can humble Anas while he was here. And Anas got a left hook that'll move a Mack truck. Like he was knocking everybody out. And I got it. I got all of I got most of them, but he was knocking everybody out. Got in there with Boots, and he got out willingly of the ring. So I said, all right, yeah, whatever, right? Well, kept bringing guys here, right, after that. And then I realized how good Boots really was. Guys that I thought were better than Anas. Boots was knocking these guys out, like 1, 2 rounds. They couldn't get out of a round. 2 rounds, done. One guy knocked out from Crunk Gym. He was a 7-0 prospect. He knocked him out in sparring. He still has not. He's still 7-0. He retired. I mean, he hasn't boxed since. You could say he's still technically a boxer, but you know what I mean? He gone. So I started realizing how good Nas actually was based off of the fact that, oh, you the only one that brought down here that didn't get knocked out. So his legend, that it became that because of that. So I bang with Boots not because I'm some fan. I've fed cannon fodder to the man. Like I've brought guys to that I thought could compete with him to compete with him. And I watch what he did to them. So we're not on this. To me, I don't even know how he views me because every time he see me, I'm breaking somebody to fight him. So he probably don't even look at me as we're not friends. It's not like he look at me like, hey, that's my guy. I'm a guy who keeps bringing guys to try to punch on you. You know what I'm saying? So that's how he views me probably. You know what I mean? I bring guys to test my guys to see what they got against him. And every time I've seen what he does. So every bit of respect that I got for him came from me watching and him earning that in the ring. Ain't got nothing to do with a narrative at all or family ties, nothing. I just watch what he does to the guys I bring. But sorry to go on that rant, but that's to those who don't know me or don't know this channel, who think that all the fighters or all the trainers in Philly who talk about him are just, we're scared to criticize him because it's Philly and we all here. Nah, it ain't that. I can guarantee you it ain't that. If he wasn't that, I would just say, shout out to Boots, hope they do well. You know what I mean? It's a lot of fighters here, man. It's a reason I speak up on him, man. Yeah. Hold on a second. Let me see what else you're saying. He said, do you think Backroom will be his next fight? No, I think Ortiz is definitely the next fight. Maybe after that, it might be Backroom. But I think Ortiz is his next fight. But I'm going to just tell y'all, guys who are sturdy, come forward, pressure fighters are not the guys that are going to give Boots any trouble. You better be slick, better have footwork, better be able to fight going forwards, backwards, and lateral. Better be a counter puncher, and you better be able to adapt on the fly because he's going to give you so many different looks on the fly that you can't prepare for one style. Because even if you do have a style that counters one aspect of his style that you think you're going to go and hone in on, like you said, okay, I think I can get with him in the infighting game. I saw some things. Well, once you get in there and you show him that you can do that, right? He can adjust, and now you won't even get in there anymore. So now you got to have a whole new strategy to deal with the adjustment to your strategy, which is why you got to be an adaptable guy, I think, to beat him. Other than the guy that just has crazy, crazy punching power, and you just so happen to land the right punch in 12 rounds. That can happen with anybody. Anybody can get caught. So yes, you can beat him if you got devastating power and you're going to take the punishment to deliver it, a la Ali Frazier, right? Frazier had nothing for Ali other than the fact that he can take everything Ali was throwing, and he knew he only needed to land one good punch to do it. But look at how much damage he had to take to get to that. You know what I'm saying? So those guys always have a chance. Those types of guys. But a guy who I think stylistically can compete, there's not many at 154 that I think even have a shot at that. You know what I mean? I don't. Not at 54. Let me see. No, everyone thinks Boots duck background because they think you can use any title like it's WBO for direct road to the championship. Facts. He said good take. Yeah, there's mandatory. So if I'm with the WBC, there's mandatory fights that I have to take within that unless I'm paying. Behind the scenes, you'll see guys who do what you just said. They'll jump using their, let's say, IBF to fight a guy that's, WBO or, WBC or WBA, whatever, right? They have done that. But the reason that happens is because you behind the scenes, there may be a guy that's first in line to fight the WBC champ, right? I might be number one ranked contender. You got to pay me step aside money if I'm your mandatory. So if I'm your mandatory and you want to fight a guy and look over me or look past me, and we contractually or based on our sanctioning body, our governing body, we are on a path to fight each other. You got to pay me step aside money. So those things happen too. And if I don't take that, then I can force you to still have to fight me, right? If I'm the mandatory guy, there's a lot of politics that fans just don't care about that are behind the scenes. What do you he said, "What do you learn from beating your fist against the wall?" Are you, like, being serious or are you playing? Are you I don't know if what type of what question you're asking. With each fight you send, what are you learning from those fights? Oh, with each fighter you're sending. Oh, that's what you mean. Okay. I learn what they are because it's Philly is a proving ground, right? We're known for gym wars, so I know what you'll do if you're up against a guy that you think is superior. I do learn that. I learned if I have a guy that's ready right now. Like I said, Anas. I think if you guys Google Anas, I think Anas now he's fighting out of Belgium right now. So I haven't been with him for about a year and a half, but yeah, he's a guy that I think is ready, and I know he's ready because of the way he competed while he was here in Philadelphia. You got guys like myself, right? I'm never been a pro boxer, but I can box very well, right? And I teach it very well because I've been boxing my whole life. There's a bunch of us in Philadelphia that never went pro, some of them never even went amateur, but they can box like nobody's business. There's a lot of them here. There's guys that's jumping off of a mail truck or, working for Pico, working for the electric company that moonlight as fighters at the end of the night. They just like to do it. They like pain. They like to fight. So a lot of people who you bring here, if you got a dog, if you got a guy that can really fight, if you bring them through Philadelphia and they run through this gauntlet because Philly is just tough. The fighters here are tough. The sparring here is tough. So the guys that you see, the Raymond Fords, the Cool Boy Stephs, the Tevin Farmers, the Boots, all these guys, they all spar killers in Philadelphia all the time. Like this is top. This is the place, probably the best place in the world for top sparring in one location, like one city. The Midwest has a lot of great fighters, but they're spread out over different states and different cities like Cincinnati and then Ohio and Detroit, you know what I mean? So you got a lot of different places you can go within the Midwest itself. But highest concentration in one place, one city, Philadelphia, man. Philadelphia, it's a lot of fighters here. So that's what I learned. I learned from the results, what they're able to do. I can see what I have and what my product is, depending on how they do against some of these guys. I don't recommend now if I think I got a top guy, I go take him to Boots. If I think I got a guy that I can take all the way, I'll take him there, see what he do. See how he does. Don't matter if you get stopped. I expect that. It's like how? What did you offer? You know what I mean? Were you Lima with no very little resistance? In which case, I know you probably got some time left, or you're a journeyman. You might be one of those guys. But if it's competitive, like two dogs in the dog fight, then I'm like, oh, all right, I know what we got. Even if you don't, technically, I don't look at sparring like a thing to win. Sparring is technical to me, depending. Depending. Let me read what you guys said. Hold on a second. That people don't realize the Boots is a lot better than he shows. That's for sure. He said Philly Ty said Philly bred some killers though. Oh yeah. He said Ortiz and Boots is the next fight, that's for sure. TBE Boxing, he said, nice story, but you made a Freudian slip with the cannon fodder comment though. Cannon fodder means punching bags. Abbas Barral, I don't know how to say his name, is likely Boots' next fight, not Ortiz. When I say cannon fodder, I say that's what the man make them look like. You make some of them do look like that. We call it dog meat though. To be honest with you, it's not a Freudian slip. But I said what I said on purpose, because once I feed them to you, once you go in there and fight them, that's what they look like. But I'm not one of those guys. I know what you're talking about, but I'm not one of those guys that goes out and tries to find guys to get punched on. I don't believe in selling blood, to be honest with you. I don't even believe in heavy sparring, top sparring, because I don't think you get anything from it. I'm a training coach, right? Um, I'm a training coach, so I'm a coach. Meaning my guys, I want you to actually have a career. I want you to be able to talk to your kids after you're done with this game. And I look at sparring as a way to teach. So for instance, if I have a guy who can't slip a jab, and I'm trying to get him to work on that. I need a guy that's gonna spar him, that's gonna give him what I'm asking him to give, meaning technical sparring. I need you to throw a lot of jabs for me, so this guy can. I don't care how hard you hit him, but I need you to throw a lot of jabs so this guy can slip those or learn to get over it, right? So jab him the entire round. Well, I can't do that with another guy like a Boots or somebody else. I can't do that. They're gonna do what they want to do to your guy. So now your guy has to go out there and just fight. So that's why Philly breeds dogs, meaning these guys are like dogs. They just know how to be tough because there is no technical sparring being done. Because your coach is going to tell your guy to come knock my guy out if he can. Whereas I might just need your guy to throw jabs, right? So if you don't have a stable of fighters that you can control, they're gonna do what you want them to do. Too much sparring could be crazy because now you got your guy just going in there and going to war all the time, right? And I've had a guy who had to take some time off because of the amount of wars that he was in, and he's only 2-1. You know what I'm saying? And that's because of the amount of wars that he had been in sparring in other gyms. So I'm not really a guy that's for the cannon fodder, but I understand what you mean. I understand because I said it, so I get you. But here we go. Let me see. All right, Dub City Gritty says 100% some never just get the opportunity. North Philly Clinton Barnes used to beat up Mike Tyson when he was feared and never went anywhere. Beat the shit. He said beat the hell out of Witherspoon in the exhibition. Oh yeah, Witherspoon was the man too. I like Witherspoon. Uh, yeah, it was a guy like I think Matthew Saad Muhammad was the man for a minute. He could box. He used to have wars for no reason. He's any fighter you send that had your eyes open versus Boots. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I understood what you were saying, Sleazy. TBE says I already heard that Boots is a legendary sparring champion. I would like to see him become a legendary fighter. I don't think you would though. You say that, but I think you would like the opposite. And I don't get that, right? Because and I know people like to act like racism or racial issues don't exist in boxing, but when you look at your Mexican counterparts, right? They like Mexican fighters. They like the Mexican fighters that are fighting. They like them all. We look at your black fighters. We can't. Well, I guess our culture speaks through the sport because we cannibalize each other, which is crazy to me. It's like if I like Terence Crawford, I can't like Boots. I like them both. Why can't I? You know what I'm saying? If I like Shakur Stevens, I can't like Javante Davis. Why not? It's not football. But I mean, I think guys think that way. So they get fully fanned up or become a full mascot for a particular fighter. And then they automatically think that they have to be oppositional to everything, not that fighter. And I don't think like that. Now, if I'm on your team, I'm in your camp. Yeah, but I can still even respect what I see. I got fighters. I'll tell them like, yo, this guy you about to fight, he better than you when it comes to counterpunching. So don't get into a overly aggressive situation with him. You want to feint and go because you want to give him something to counter so you can go on it. Because if you just try to go one on one or straight up with him, ABC, he gonna knock you out. I'll straight tell you that to your face. You know what I'm saying? Because you need to know. You need to know this ain't feelings. This is fighting, man. This ain't about your feelings. You need to know. Um, yeah, but I hear what you're saying though. He said, "Who you think is the hardest fight in the pros? Who you think is his hardest fight in the pros?" That's what you're saying. Boots. Um, right now it would be Terence Crawford because Terence Crawford's still active. If Terence Crawford's not here, there's a kid, the Gary Anton Russell is the only person I've ever seen give Boots problems, and that was in the amateurs. That would be a good fight if they're ever at the same weight. Gary Anton Russell is a psychopath that comes forward. He's a southpaw. He can bang. Um, him and Boots had some legendary fights as amateurs. So I think he actually beat Boots as an amateur too. So I think that would be a fight that I would be interested in seeing. Um, and then Boots moving up, Boots versus a guy like Caleb Plant. I think Caleb Plant, obviously, I think Boots can beat him because I think he'll break him down. But Caleb Plant's athleticism and his trainer. So Breadman is another Philly trainer. I think is one of the top trainers in the game. But I think Breadman will have a plan for Boots. Now that doesn't mean he wins. I don't mean Plant. That doesn't mean Plant wins. But I think it'll be interesting to see that chess match. I would like to see it. Um, The Charlo brothers, they got a shot. Hold on a second. Let me see what's going on here. These, let me see. Got you. Yeah, but the Charlo brothers, I think those fights could be interesting. Um, Ortiz, if you look at Ortiz, Ortiz is not like he's not a walkthrough opponent. Ortiz has high octane offense. Like he's not a defensive fighter. He's coming after you. He's fast. He's quick, explosive, but his work rate is crazy. So a guy like that can always, he can change a fight in any moment. Especially with a guy like Boots who will play around a little bit. He might catch you, and he can change the tone of the fight. So I think that's a tough fight. None of these fights, I don't think they're easy fights. I just look at them like stylistically. I think Boots has a style that could deal. I've seen him deal with pressure fighters a lot. And then when you look at, don't even get me to try to say the guy's name, but the guy he fought twice who was dancing for the 12 rounds, right? He could move. So we already see that guys that give movement, that actually can box, have take good angles and so on, good on their feet. They can give you issues if they could actually punch. The guy he was fighting wasn't trying to fight him; he was trying to survive. But if they can do that, fight off the back foot and actually punch while doing so, which is a rare trait right now. You don't see many fighters able to do it. Boots is one of them that can, but most fighters today, the art of walking guys into punches, like Sugar Ray Leonard used to, controlling a fight and having a man kind of follow you around like you're the matador and he's the bull, so to speak. Ali, Sugar Ray Leonard, Sugar Ray Robinson, that type of style. Larry Holmes, that's not really here no more. You don't really see guys able to do it. Most black fighters even are, they might be quick and explosive, but they're looking to walk you down. Everybody wants to be the toughest guy out there, not realizing there's other styles that you can deploy. But the trainers who know them, just like my trainer, right? The trainers who know how to do these things, a lot of them have died, or a lot of them have taken that knowledge with them, right? Because they replaced, a lot of trainers get this done to them. You get replaced with guys who are more so strength and conditioning coaches, right? They're shoe shiners, not shoemakers, meaning they don't know how to build a fighter from scratch. But you can bring a fighter that's already damn near ready to them, and they'll take them to the next level for you. And then we assume that guy taught him everything he knows, right? Like at the end, you saw Freddie Roach training James Toney, but Bill Miller is James Toney's trainer. Bill Miller taught James Toney how to fight like James Toney, not Freddie Roach, right? Not saying Freddie Roach is a shoe shiner. He actually can train you from scratch, but that's just an example. A lot of trainers that you see today they did not teach these fighters unless they're their father. They didn't teach these fighters what they know. They just inherited a fighter who already knew. You know what I mean? So, I mean, when you see that, you get the styles within boxing degrade, and that's where boxing is right now. He said Matthew Side is legendary. Yeah, Side is legendary because he wanted to be. Like he would chill. He would let you go in on him, but he never had to. Matthew Side Muhammad could box, but he would lay on the ropes because selling blood was getting people like yourself and myself. I guess a lot of people were getting excited because they watched him in a lot of wars, but he never had to be in a war. He chose to stand there and trade. That was just what he chose to do because he was tough. But he could box, like flat out box. He didn't have to stand still at all. He can fight you and take you on a ride that you would never forget. You know what I mean? Pause. But for real, like you wouldn't see it coming. Because Philly does. That's one thing. Philly does teach boxing. Like a lot of fighters here really know how to box. Boots too. Boots can box, but he'll walk you down too. That's just the way Philly is. Cool boy Steph can box his ass off. Multiple styles. He could change his style up like that, like nothing. Like he's a savant when it comes to boxing, but he'll walk you down too. Like these guys are just like that. Raymond Ford, same thing. They just like that. I watch these guys in the gym for several hours at a time. That's the only guy who has the best chance of beating Boots. He said Crawford because Boots he's just that good. Yeah, I think Crawford would be the only opponent right now that I would see that can give Boots a major problem. Yeah. He said that's the problem with boxing. He calls out and tries to fight guys, and when it don't happen, they blame Boots instead of calling the guys out. But even when you look at make sure y'all go out to Akoye Knows Boxing too. So Akoye, Akoye Knows Boxing, and follow the channel. I have to make sure I start asking people to do that more. But to your point, Dub City, yeah, a lot of guys look at it like, if your fighter doesn't, if these guys don't fight, then it's the fighters, and the promoters allow that pressure to remain on the fighters or on the fighters team, when really you might have two guys like Floyd and Pacquiao. They don't fight because their promoters don't like each other. And then they had to get big enough to supersede the promoter. Then after they supersede the promoter, they try to make as much money as they can make before they actually fight each other. Because think about it. If I'm going to fight you for $30 million and I run the risk of losing, and I know if I'm Floyd, if I'm Pacquiao and I lose, depending on how I lose, I don't really lose that much because people don't care if Pacquiao loses or not. But if I'm Floyd and I lose, and I made $30 million to lose, I run the risk of losing a lot more than $30 million, don't I? Because once I lose, who can I fight? No, for that type of money, nobody, because nobody wants to see it anymore. Because only reason people are watching them, the majority of the people watching them are watching them because they're in awe of his ability to remain undefeated, or they want to see him not be undefeated. They're watching you to watch you lose, right? So because of the way he branded himself. So if that's the case, yeah, I might avoid certain fighters at certain times. Why? Because I might be able to fight 5 guys, 6 guys at 15 million, 10 million, whatever on the average, right? Make an extra 60 over here while sweetening the pot for your 30 that I'm gonna make off you anyway. So I'll put a pin in that 30. I said I'm gonna fight him in 24 months. But in the meantime, in between time, I'm gonna fight 5 more of these guys. So instead of making this 30 to fight today and then losing out on the fact that I could make 10, 15 fighting these guys, I'm gonna fight you last. I'm gonna fight these guys first because easy work. Now, if I'm thinking as a business, that's what I go do. And that's what they do. So you'll look at those things and you'll say, oh, they ducked. That ain't a duck. That's called just smart business. And I know y'all all got jobs or businesses or something. Ain't none of y'all trying to make less money at the thing you do for a living. None of y'all. Nobody. I couldn't ask you, no matter how logical or how much I love you, I love what you do. I could never ask you to make less money to fight or to do anything, right? But you don't fight or sell no blood. Like you ain't risking your life to go to work most of the time, unless you're talking about traffic or getting on the bus in Philadelphia is risking your life. But I'm just saying, you ain't risking your life in a ring willingly, knowing that I'm going to a place where I may die to work, right? So when we see a guy who makes a business decision in boxing, we look at it like it's the worst thing on the planet, and it ain't. It ain't. It's just smart business. Like even Javante fighting Jake Paul, that's smart business right now because it's a fight that doesn't matter what happens in that fight. He gonna make crazy money. Then he get to come back to boxing and at least get one more major payday or many more, depending. So and then even the retirement conversation, scarcity creates demand. So if I tell you, hey, I'm retiring, everybody gonna start talking about me retiring. Everybody gonna start looking to try to get me out of retirement, and then the price just went up because now you want Sugar Ray Leonard started this game, man. But that's what it is, man. So understand that everything you hear and see ain't what it is, and everything ain't fear. These guys ain't afraid of shit. Like most fighters, if they were afraid, they wouldn't be in the sport. Most of them do what they do because they like to walk into those situations afraid. They like to face fears. You know what I mean? That's why they're strange people, right? That's why I respect boxing. You know what I mean? But I feel you. TBE, he said, I was a kid, but Matthew Saad Muhammad was legendary. He used to always get beat up every fight, but he would end up knocking out his opponent almost every fight. Yeah, because he was never in trouble. Like he could sit there and he was rolling off punches, slipping punches, and taking and smothering your shots in such a way where it's like he looked like he in danger and he's just a tough guy, but he wasn't in danger. Now he's fought some guys that really can get him out of here, though, and that's why that style fighting that way. Turagati did that a lot too, but Turagati wasn't a superior fighter. He just was really that tough. You know what I mean? Rest in peace to a Turagati and a Turagati Jr. I believe it's Junior, but his son just was found dead in Mexico as well. I think it's something to that, man. Somebody got to look into what's going on with that situation. I ain't got time at this point, but somebody need to look into that. Dub City, he said exactly. Norman did to Boots, but to the point, Boots is ducking. But to my point, it was Boots ducking. I don't get what you're saying, but I don't know what happened with Norman and Boots. That's why I'm saying that. He said you broke that down real nice. I appreciate that. No problem, man. No problem. Um, but yeah, so I mean, I was trying to get to everybody. I think I did, but here's the thing, man. When you look at what Boots has on the scene next, or what anybody, is looking for in 154. I think he's going to easily clear that space out because it's not a lot of competition that I'm looking at. Like that's like what was it? Zayas is good. You know what I mean? Fedor is good. All these guys are good, but there's no greatness at 154. I'm looking for greatness against a Boots or a guy that's good but bigger, right? You know what I mean? Those are only things that I think will slow him down at all. I mean, like if he was at 168 fighting a guy like Benavidez, that's a fight I would want to see. You know what I mean? Two tough young bulls. Like I will watch them fight in 2 years. You know what I mean? No problem. I don't think Benavidez will be ever, at 168 again though. So that's probably not gonna happen, right? But I see Boots going up to 75 at some point in his career too. I think he could, but not yet. I think it'll be like a 4 or 5 year thing before he does that near the end of his career. But right now, I don't see any greatness out there at 54. 60, no. I don't think Boots. I think Boots is gonna collect every belt at 54 and 60 within the next 3 years. I really do. I don't see it happening. The only way he doesn't get the belts at 54 and 60 is if those guys with the belts elect not to fight him. But if he keeps putting on performances the way he just did, even if you say Lima's not on his level, if he keeps putting on performances like the one he just did last Saturday, he's going to make himself a draw. And once he becomes a draw, I mean, when I say a draw, everybody gets mad when I say that he's not one. I'm talking about the money guy. Once he becomes a guy that no matter what, just him waking up and fighting, he can fight me and I'll make 5 million type. And once he becomes that in the game, it's really not much you can do with him. He don't need the belts then. You know what I mean? Because then you want to fight him because you want a payday. Right now, he's in a unique situation where his talent supersedes his price tag because he's a dangerous fighter for most fighters to fight. This is not a duck. This is smart business. If I have a fighter who's young, who I haven't made a lot of money back off of yet, meaning in the beginning of boxing, I don't think people understand what happens in boxing. Before you get any real money, you've lost money most of the time as a manager, as a promoter. Why? Because I have to pay guys to fight you when you're young because you're dangerous to them. No one's going to take another young guy that's a prospect to put him in with you at 3-0. Why? Because if you got Boots at 3-0 and I got, Ortiz at 3-0, why would we let them fight when they're fighting 6 round fights? They're not going to make any money, and they're going to damage each other's career and each other's body, right? While they're learning the game. It's too early. So I need them to fight somebody. So I have to pay B-side fighters, Mexican fighters, and I say Mexican because I take my fighters to Tijuana literally to fight. But you pay for opponents from all over the place, and I'm paying them. I mean, I gotta pay my slot fee. I have to pay my opponent's flight and hotels and so on for some promoters to even put me on the card. Some cards I might want to be on because I want my fighter to get the exposure. But I paid for the opponent. I had to go pay to make sure he got here. Might even picked him up at the airport and put him up in a hotel so that he can even fight my guy. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't making money off that. You know what I mean? So if I have that, obviously I'm not going to take that investment and say, "Hey, let's get 30,000 or 50,000 to have you fight." Even though that might be okay for me to make right now, but I'm gonna have you fight a guy who might beat you early, or you might beat him early, but y'all might damage each other. It's the wrong time for the fight. Where I know in 2 years, if I just let you build your record up the way we're doing it right now, I'm gonna get this money back, and we're gonna make way more money. I might make 5 million for you fighting the same guy that I was trying to get 50,000 for you to fight today. That is what happens in boxing. But if you don't know the business, you think that's a duck. That ain't a duck. That's just it's not smart money to fight you right now. And Boots is in that position where guys who are making millions or a couple mil or hundreds of thousands to fight right now, they can go make that money and continue to live their career out fighting everybody not named Boots. Why the hell would I fight you? Now, if right now you'll put a hole in my face if you Boots, and I got this other guy who's dangerous, like a Lubin, but I can look good against him, but I'm gonna get credit for fighting a guy like that. I'm gonna get my name up off him. I might lose, and I'm not gonna make the same money. I might make more money fighting this other guy who is not gonna put a hole in my face, and I'm gonna get my more notoriety and my career goes longer, and I even make more if I do come back and fight Boots later. Why would I fight you now? right? Boots is not the money guy yet. If he was the money guy, you say fuck it, just like fighting Canelo. I'm gonna get the payday now because I'm gonna fight you, and no matter what happens, I'm gonna get paid something crazy. That's why people would fight Tyson back in the day because it was a payday. But if it ain't that, why am I fighting you? I'm not fighting a guy. Why would I fight a guy that's going to cause serious bodily harm and I'm not going to make no money yet? That don't make no sense. And that's not hate on Boots. That's like as you come up in the game before Floyd was Money Mayweather. This is what it was like. That's how the game go. So you wait until the maximum payout matures, and then you have your guys fight each other. So in between time, when that's not happening, those are not ducks. Those are not ducks. Um, I got another fight coming up, right? Um, uh, Benavidez versus Yard or Yard, whatever, right? Um, I think that's a good fight for Benavidez because I like Yard. I think Yard is a athlete. He's a John Pascal type athlete. When I say they don't have the same style of fighting, but he's an athlete. And what I mean by that, athlete boxers are explosive, they're dangerous early, but they're usually front runners because they're athletic and they're heavy with muscles. Like boxers, all coaches tell you don't lift weights. We still have that belief that you shouldn't lift heavy weights. And the reason you shouldn't lift heavy weights because it slows you down and it makes you tired. Look, you get tighter, your reflexes aren't as sharp, right? That's what we think, right? So a guy like Yard, I look at him as a guy in that category. Like he's explosive, he's powerful. He had great fights with Kovalev and with uh, Arthur Beterbiev. I liked his fights. I like how he fights. I just think that he would fight a lot better if he wasn't so heavy, muscularly heavy, right? Jean Pascal's another one of those guys. You get a lot of right, a lot of just. I think the Charlos are athlete fighters too. But, again, Benavidez, I think he will struggle with him in the first 5, 6 rounds. It'll be a struggle. If Yard can land anything that, like, really hurts Benavidez, then maybe he can gain some respect for that time or that window where he needs to catch his second win. He may be able to coast if he can apply some damage early, and he has a smart strategy for when he gets tired. But you don't wanna be a front runner in front of a guy like Benavidez because he's a wall that's hard to hurt. He's getting slicker each time he fights, so he's learning. His defense is getting better, but he's a Gatling gun when it comes to his punch output. Regardless of what you say about his power carrying to 175, which I don't think it does, his output still does. He still can touch you. Like he hit Gavazik as much as he wanted to. He's going to do the same thing to Yard. So if you get tired in front of that, if you get tired in front of Benavidez from him walking you down, like that mental pressure makes you tired. Even if he's not hitting you, a guy being right in front of you, a guy taking your best Sunday punch and still walking towards you, a guy standing in front of you constantly moving and fainting and you don't know when he's coming or going, those things make you mentally tired, and then physically getting hit on top of that breaks you down. So I think that he will slow Yard down in the middle rounds, and then whatever happens, happen. I don't think it has. I don't necessarily say it'll be a knockout because I don't think Benavidez's power is carried to light heavy. So I don't think he knocks him out, but I think he dominates him with that style. I think in the first 4 or 5 rounds, Yard better win those rounds clean because then he can make it a tight fight in the later rounds. Because if you win 4 of the first 5 or 5 of the first 6 rounds, somewhere in there, you only got to steal 2 of the late rounds. You only got to do that. So if he can come out as a front runner that he is and jump right on Benavidez and run some numbers up and make it a fight, then you might have a good fight on your hands. But if Benavidez is dominant from round 1 to 5, he gonna break him down and get him out of here around 8, 9. Because if you have a guy that's desperate but drained, like Yard will be in the later rounds, once he gets tired and he's desperate, his trainers still have to tell him, "You're behind in this fight. You need to take the fight to him." If you have a desperate, tired fighter, that's how a guy gets knocked out because he has to go after you to win it. But going after you diminished is going to get him out of here. So if it becomes a knockout, it'll happen because Yard gets tired early and doesn't dominate early. If he doesn't, then he will have to bring the fight to Benavidez, and that's what you don't want to do late after he's been wearing you down. So I think that'll be a good fight. I think that'll be a good fight, man. So, like I said, this is what I do, man. So when it comes to boxing, like I'll break them down, and this is what I love to do. So definitely, any questions y'all got in regards to fights that's coming up, I'm all for them. I love to answer those. Let me read what you guys are saying. Um, he said, "I hope Boots don't sit out 8 months off after this Lehman fight. I feel like he should take that backroom fight, jump right back in. I think he's fighting Ortiz again. He's fighting Ortiz in the first quarter of 2026. That's what I think. It should happen. That's his issue. Once he can make that money, he's off to the races. Now they want a payday, but he ain't got 3 million for you. That's exactly the problem, right? The guys who will want to fight him, they'll fight him. It gotta be for the right price tag. Ain't about and I don't blame them. Like if I got a fighter, the whole purpose in some of these guys fight. I got guys who are fighting because they trying to put their family back together type tip, right? They need money. You know what I mean? Looking to they not looking to go out on their shit. They done told their wife they chasing boxing, and they gotta make some of themselves. So they getting their records up, they paying all this money. It's just like a rapper. A rapper pays his own money to get himself hot, right? Fighters are doing the same thing. We paying our own money to get ourselves hot. Once we get hot, we want to get paid. We want to get paid. I don't care about the name unless the name is such a name where it's like I know I could beat this guy, and after I beat this guy, my name gonna be gold. Like if you thought you could beat Boots for the 100,000 or 800,000, you might say, "All right, I don't need 3 million because it's easy money. I'm gonna take this 800, and y'all think he worth more than that. So I'm gonna take this 800. I'm gonna beat him, and then it's gonna take me to the upper echelon. It's like Maidana versus Victor Ortiz. Maidana took that money. He said, "Oh yeah, I'll fight him." He fight Victor Ortiz. They had a war. He beats Victor Ortiz, and then Maidana made real money after the Ortiz fight. He made okay money to fight Ortiz, but after that, he became a household name, and that was because of the fight he took against Victor Ortiz. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, people will take that type of risk, like Floyd Mayweather versus Diego Corrales. Like, okay, I could beat Corrales, but it's a tough fight. But you go fight him, right? And now people looking at you like you something. You know what I mean? So those are the type. Or I think Davis had to fight what was the dude name? Um it was a dude that Floyd put him up against. Davis had to fight this guy. Forgot his name, but they wanted him to lose that fight too. But yeah, once he beat him, everybody like, oh, all right, he that guy. I think Pitbull Cruz is another one of those fights for Davis. He said, I said Yard got 6 rounds to stop Benavidez. After that, Benavidez turns it up and stops him. You know boxing. Yeah, Yard is a front runner. And it's not his fault. He's a muscular guy. He ain't if he has a high punch output, he gonna get tired in 4 or 5 rounds, and that's most fighters. But some fighters only have 6 rounds of good fight in them. But it's how you dispense it. Some guys play the clock where they'll hit you one time and now they'll tie you up. That's 30 seconds off the clock. Their game plan, like Bernard Hopkins used to do, their game plan is to play the clock, meaning they're not trying to hurt you. So that way they don't waste their energy because they might hit you 2 3 times and they grab you. That's 30 seconds. Then they do it again, 30 seconds. So now they're taking time off the clock every time they do that, and that's their whole style. You fight in quicksand. You never really get a chance to get into the fight. Then they make you desperate. So now when they use that 6 rounds of actual fighting energy they have, when you get desperate, they can knock you out because now they made you open up, but they never tied themselves out. They're waiting for you to open up. They're just frustrating you. So most fighters have just about that in them. Most guys can't go, blow for blow for blow 12 rounds straight. Most guys don't have that in them. You know what I mean? But it's how you got the same bank account. How do you deploy it? How do you use what you have? That's what makes or separates the fighter. That's where the strategy comes in. Because if it was just the guy who's the strongest, the best endurance, or the quickest, you know what I mean? Athletes would be the best fighters in the game, and they never have been. Athletes always been good. Like Anthony Joshua is an athlete. He ain't the best in the game. He can't mess with Usyk. You know what I'm saying? Even though if you just said, hey, let's have an athletic test, who's the best athlete? Anthony Joshua and probably Deontay Wilder, right? But they can't beat Fury and Usyk. Why? Because it's the mental game. The mental game. He said, I agree with you about Yard. Too much muscle. I have always thought that from the first time I saw him fight. Facts. Um, He said, broke that Yard versus Benavidez joint down perfectly. I appreciate that, man. He said, Benavidez's weakness is, this is TBA. He said, lack of conditioning, a la Caleb Plant and David Morrell fights. Benavidez also has a weird balance issue. I don't know about the balance issue, but conditioning, Some guys condition from running. Benavidez is not. You ever seen him? I never seen him run. He might be running in some of these videos, but some guys get conditioned. Their conditioning comes from sparring. Benavidez is a throwback. That's why I like him because he's not good because he came up in the amateur ranks and fought a bunch of guys or he had top training. He's good because he is crazy enough to spar anybody and he spars a lot. So his training is sparring. James Toney used to do that. There's a lot of fighters that they get in shape, boxing shape by sparring. So they're not as athletic as they should be. I think that's what you're talking about with Benavidez. He's one of those guys. He gets himself ready by sparring a lot. But I like that because some fighters, I got fighters who you could take them. I mean it. They can go run 8 miles right now. I'm talking about flat out run. I can run them up the rocky steps. They flying up the steps. But not get them in a fight. They tired after 2 rounds. Like how are you tired? I don't want to curse, but how the hell are you tired? And I've seen what you can do. Like how are you tired? It's because, and this is why I started to develop drills that mimic what you're going to do in the ring. Like I have guys now. You're going to run for miles, but you're going to run in your boxing stance. Forwards, backwards, lateral movement. We're going to do our miles. Our road work is while you're still moving as a fighter, because that's what you're going to have to do in the ring. It don't help you to jog because you ain't going to be able to jog in the ring, right? So the bike don't help you because ain't no bike in the ring. You know what I mean? So every exercise needs to be boxing simulation. And the best boxing simulation is sparring. So guys who spar to get in shape, they may not be as athletic, but as far as their mental aspect of getting through rounds and knowing what to do when they're tired and feeling that, they don't feel like a fish out of water when they get into those situations because they've been hurt a lot because they spar a lot. They've been tired a lot. They know how to fight tired because they have to because they spar a lot. You know what I'm saying? So those guys that are always in a ring, they usually know how they knew their way around the ring. They know how to survive. They know how to, steal rounds. They know how to do things that the guys that are just athletes just don't understand. Like when you watch Trinidad versus Bernard Hopkins was drowning Trinidad the entire fight, leaning on his left hand. Trinidad never knew what was happening. It was like simple shit that was happening right in front of his face. He never knew what was going on. So he kept trying to athlete him. He out punch him. I'm going to punch my way out of this situation. But the more effort he exerted, the more he worked himself into that web and tired himself out. Bernard fought that entire fight as a southpaw, meaning he wasn't southpaw literally, but watch the fight again. Southpaws go to their right primarily, right? Because that's their lead hand. Bernard fought that fight going to his right so that because Trinidad was a left-hand dominant fighter that likes to throw left hooks, anytime if I want to throw a left hook, I got to come out this way and I'm coming back at you, right? Well, if you're over here, so if you're over there already, I really can't get full range into the punch because you're already shading my left. So now the thing I have room to throw is my right, right? So ideally, I might throw quick right hands to get you to kind of set yourself up by going back this way, so I have room to come back with the left hook. If you just stay over there and I don't have a right hand, which Trinidad does not, if you're not scared of my right hand, then you're really fighting half a man because you're sitting on my left and you take yourself further away from my right hand, which doesn't have that much power anyway. You're safe as long as you're over there. And Bernard fought that fight going that way the entire time. So he smothered Trinidad's left hook and neutralized it by doing that. But Trinidad never figured out it was just the angle that was giving you problems. It wasn't anything other than that. He just fought you as a southpaw. He fought you while going to his right. Whereas most conventional fighters would have been coming this way. They were trying to circle to their left. And as you circling to your left to try to get away from, that left hand, you're trying to stay away from it, right? You're giving him more range of motion to throw a power shot. So eventually he's going to catch you with one of them and he got full motion in it. He's going to hurt you. Whereas if he catches you with a left hand and you're over there on the left, even if it hits you, you're smothering it. It doesn't have as much power to it because of where you're standing, right? Some guys never understand that because they don't spend enough time in the ring. They're just athletes. So they come in and they like, I can punch harder, I'm faster, I'm more explosive, but I could do one thing as an old man. I'm 42. I get in, I'll spar guys. I spar heavyweights right now. I swear to God. But I spar guys, and I'm not better than them at all. I'm old, but I know how to stay safe because I know where I need to be safe. So as long as I stay within certain parameters, I can spar you. Whereas if you knew what I was doing, like if you had the IQ, I wouldn't even be able to get in the ring with you because you'd be like, man, no, it's a bad jump. You know what I'm saying? So guys like Greg Hackett could spar anybody you want. He's small, but he could spar anybody. And the reason he can is because he understands the principles of boxing. He understands the science. He get it. You know what I mean? He get it. And I can see that. Like you can see who does and who doesn't. What up, JP? What's up with you? He said, Dub City said, oh, I read that already. Read that already. Dub City said Tank beat Ricardo Nunez and Gamboa. And after that, it was known that then Santa Cruz came up and got knocked out. Yeah, yeah. Santa Cruz. I like that fight against Santa Cruz. Santa Cruz problem was he kept throwing the same punch. So Davis set him up, and this is when I learned Davis had a boxing IQ. I didn't think he was a high IQ guy. I just thought he was, again, a good explosive puncher, an athlete type guy. But when I started watching what Davis started doing as a shorter fighter, first off, his fight against Pitbull Cruz, it was like, man, oh, you could box. He knows boxing because he couldn't just dominate Pitbull Cruz, so he had to switch his game up. But I watched that. That was dope. But the thing that taught me with Leo Santa Cruz was that uppercut. So he had Santa Cruz. He set him up to throw the uppercut. Then he gave him the same look again. He got him to throw it again. Santa Cruz threw the same punch 3 times because Davis gave him the same look 3 times. And then he countered the punch that he baited you to throw. So if I bait you to throw a punch, right, and you throw it, I never really countered you because I know what you're going to throw. A lot of people don't realize even defense is sometimes progressive. And a progressive defense is I know what you're going to do before you do it because I set you up to do it. Like if I show you this side of my face, I know that there's a punch coming from this direction. So then when I slip it or I get out the way and I counter that, I didn't counter anything. I know what you're gonna do because I gave you the lane to do it. Get what I'm saying? So it looks like I'm slipping punches when really I'm just a step ahead of you because I'm now giving you this punch to throw. I know you're probably gonna throw your right hand, neck. You know what I'm saying? I'm slipping progressively. I know what's happening after each sequence of punches because I'm setting you up to throw them. You know what I mean? And when you fight a guy who fights with a broken rhythm or a fighter that faints, they can fuck that up for you because they'll feint you into slipping something that ain't coming. And now, they can set you up. So now you're playing chess. You know what I mean? But some guys don't even know that that's happening to them. They think that, every target is a true target. They don't understand how to approach that. So, hats off to you for seeing that. But yeah, Tank Davis is one of those guys that will set you up. And he knows, all right, I might not be able to beat this guy straight up. So he might tire guys out like he did against Frank Martin. I'm not gonna throw a lot of punches. Like he did against Roley. I ain't gonna throw a lot of punches. I'm gonna bide my time and walk him into the right shot because I know if I go out and try to just out athlete this guy, he gonna catch me in an exchange and it's an even Steven fight after that. We don't do 50-50s in boxing, man. No. He said Santa Cruz and Ryan Garcia got set up the same way. Yep. He said the next big fight is Norman versus Haney. Everybody talking about it, which makes me proud because it's two black fighters and black fighter father duos. Yeah, yeah, I like that fight. Um, I think that fight is perfect for Haney. That's a perfect fight for Haney. And the reason being is because Norman is a guy who, when you watch a lot of Norman fight, Norman's a guy who needs a guy to be right in front of him. So he looks good if you fight right in front of him. Like he don't got footwork. So, but he look good if you stand there and you want to exchange shots. He gonna tear your ass up. Like he is that, right? But he don't have the footwork at all. Haney does have footwork, right? And I think Haney, when he started working with Shane Mosley, he got even more footwork. I think he went overboard in his last fight with the footwork. That's why people were like, "Oh, he running." But now you're gonna see a synergy where you're gonna see Haney's natural style, which is that high octane jab with polished boxing, right? Merged with now superb footwork. And if you got footwork and that jab, one of the best jabs in the game, he's gonna dance all over Norman, but not have to run. Norman he's a conventional Regis Prograde. Regis Prograde is the same type of guy, a flat-footed, explosive puncher, but you got to be right in front of him for him to hurt you. Norman is that, but conventional. So I think the fight is going to go similar. It's a good fight for Haney because that style, Mexicans don't bother Haney very much, although Ryan Garcia did. But that style doesn't bother him very much because he came up fighting in Mexico. His dad was taking him the same place that Vargas takes his son. That I'll take my guys in Tijuana. Right? Shout out to Helga. She's a promoter down in Tijuana that you can get fights from. But we all go there. I mean, those who know the game, we know that's where you're going. But that's who Haney grew up fighting, was a lot of Mexicans. So he knows that style quite well. Norman, though, presents a ripple because he's a black guy that fights like a Mexican. So he has it's like what they say, Blade. He said he has all of their strengths, none of their weaknesses. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, he fights like a Mexican, but he's a little more explosive. Or he's a high octane guy, but he fights as a Mexican. He doesn't have the motor, but he fights like a Mexican. He's a little stronger, explosive, right? And he's bigger. So, okay, that's why he could present a problem to Haney. But as far as Haney's concerned, though, I think Haney's jab and footwork and his angle advantages will be enough to mitigate that if Norman doesn't clip him early. If Norman clips him, because Haney does have one big problem that I've never seen him fix, and that's his right hand. So when he throws his jab, some people throw their jab and they stay home. That's how you're supposed to do. Throw your jab in your right hand. It's a pledge of allegiance, really. Throw your jab and your right hand should stay right here. So you're able to manipulate and do whatever you need to do with this right hand, right? Well, Haney, when he throws his jab, he does this almost every time. So if you throw a hook off his jab, like if you just say, I'm gonna eat your jab, I don't care if you hit me with it. But every time I see you even go to throw a jab, I'm throwing a mean ass hook. Or I'm gonna start throwing hooks to the body and coming up, or jab to the body and come up with the hook, or hook off the jab. Any hooks, Haney is susceptible to him because he pulls his right hand down, and because he likes the jab, he likes a good distance. And if you have a good range, good distance, you can throw a full range hook, which is why Ali would have problems against Frazier, because Ali would be pulling back instead of smothering. He would pull back, and that gives Frazier all that room to throw that big punch, throw a hook. And he knows, if I'm a trainer and I know that my guy has a good punch on him, I might not say, hey, come in here and technically beat this guy. Actually, you might not be able to. I'm gonna just tell him, hey, you got a good overhand right. I need 7 of them this round. I don't care if they land, just no matter what, you throwing 7 good overhand rights and set them up right. Because I only need you to land one to change the fight. Then the next round, hey, I need you to throw 7 more. That's it. That's how I evaluate certain guys, right? So same thing. I'm getting off topic, but you get my point. Haney has the ability to wash Norman, but Norman has a puncher's chance if he's paying attention to Haney's deficiency, and the fact that, and if Haney hasn't fixed it, he's gonna catch him. But that left hook is Haney's kryptonite, because Haney pulls that right hand down almost every time he throws his jab. So if you can punch while he's punching, and you throw a hook while he's jabbing almost every time, even if he slips a couple of them, you're gonna make him think, and then he's gonna get less active with that jab because he sees what you're doing, and he doesn't have much other game to him if he doesn't set everything up with the jab. So if you can get him scared to throw his jab, like Ryan Garcia was using that jab against him, then you can turn it into a fight. And in a fight, Haney loses to Norman if they fighting. If they boxing, Haney got him. But if you could turn it into a fight early by clipping him or by making him reluctant to throw that jab, then it's a fight. And then it's 50-50. You know what I mean? But yep, that's how it would go, in my opinion. But I got Haney having the more advantages in this fight. Um, he said, I'm out. Good luck with your channel. You know the business, and your demeanor is chill. I will subscribe to your channel and help out the algorithm. Talk about your own fighters more, though. Oh, I will, man. I will. Yeah, I'll talk about them. I don't like to put pressure on them. I guess they be, some of them you might see them drunk in the club. They like, man, why are you talking shit to me? Because your trainer told me you're supposed to be in the gym type tip. They don't like this shit. But he said that's why I think Roach will beat Pitbull. I got him staying tight and stepping inside. Yeah, I think Roach should beat Pitbull, but it's gonna be a tough fight. Pitbull ain't no joke. Norman has no movement up top. I think Haney's speed, timing, and footwork will handle it. Yeah, like I said, he's Regis pro grade, but a conventional fighter. I mean, I think that because certain fighters, certain guys go to war, certain boxers can go to war real good. Two bums make a good fight, and two guys who can't box, who got to stand in the phone booth, oh, they're gonna make an amazing fight. Look at Mickey Ward versus Arturo Gotti. When I say bums, they're not like trash fighters, but they're not guys that are traditional boxers. They're gonna stand right in the phone booth and go to war with you. Those were 3 amazing fights. You know what I mean? So that's always been true. So you will see a guy that can fight a guy like that, and then you're like, oh, well, let me put him up against Floyd. And then you're like, well, why Floyd do that to Gotti? And Mickey Ward couldn't, because Mickey Ward couldn't get off those angles and move the way Floyd is gonna move against him. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think Norman's benefiting from the fact that the guys he fought make him look good because they stood right in front of him, right? And he's not gonna do that. But again, we've been on for an hour. I'm about to wrap up, but I just wanted to make sure you guys got your, the answers to your questions and all that. But before you go, make sure you guys follow, like, and subscribe. Akoye Knows Boxing, especially my guys that are watching me on Akoye Media. Do not simply watch on Akoye Media, because you won't find this content on Akoye Media for much longer. I started to cross promote these lives so that you guys could come over to Akoye Knows Boxing for those who want to watch boxing. Because Akoye Media, as you guys know, I generally do football over there. So, I'm doing boxing over here. So I'm bringing you guys over to the dark side if y'all want to watch some boxing, right? But other than that, like I said, I appreciate y'all joining up. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, share it. We're gonna put some clips out there and y'all gonna see more of it. Paul Wilson, that's my man. See y'all soon. Dub City Gritty, appreciate you. TBE Boxing, appreciate you. Adam, TY, Deontay F, all y'all, man. Sadiqa, Rue Glock, what up, Rue? JP, what's up? I see a lot of my football guys over here too doing their thing, man. So, like I said, I appreciate all y'all that jumped up and do what y'all do, man. But yeah, appreciate you too, Dub. And we'll be back. I mean, talk to y'all soon. Peace.